The keys to the future mathematics are given in codes coordinating pictograph cybernetics, which use pyramids instead of periods, so that mathematical structures will unfold and follow the multiple tracings of light. In the beginning was the Word, but the beginning of the Word proceeded as light pictographs and became form. Out of the emanations of the divine mind proceeded the light pictographs, which were combined with the geometrics of the creative forms, producing the spectrum of all form that came out of the alphabet of creation. This key explains how the language of the future mathematics will be language of light pictographs and ideograph cybernetics. The complexity of the universe and the perfect doctrines used by the Lords of Light requires a high-speed communication process so that the whole concepts can be conveyed with the entreaty of environmental experience. When I was taken into Merkaba, Enoch instructed me through a series of scenario abstracts or light pictographs as to the myriad of intelligence which serves the Father's will. This was done through a high-speed process of pictographs which connected whole environmental arrangements of every basic order knowledge so that the multi-level incarnation programs could be directly revealed to me in the matter of hours. Such a vast scope of wisdom could not possibly be conveyed in such a short time using any contemporary earth methods of communication. I was shown how information from many different realms can be uniquely combined in a way that could be adequately expressed or felt by the human language because of the slow moving of verbs, the same spatial distances that are retained between images in printed language and the linear direction of black and white human language codings, which do not permit the subtle colorings of higher mental language to be transmitted as testimony of the actual events. I was also shown how man conceives of his consciousness with a period of time which becomes a focal point of containment and does not allow for ongoing movement of his consciousness flow. This comes from man's unconditional and exhaustive self-accusation, which allows his consciousness to be contained within the notions of sin and limitation. Yet the higher evolution does not allow for patterns of electrostatic interference generated by the lesser gods to keep man perpetually locked in consciousness bondage. Therefore, I was told that these anointed through divine pictographs would receive their knowledge through pictographs of light so that their mind-body unity could be coded simultaneously on all levels of biochemical language at speeds faster than the biological relay mechanisms of the hypothalamus. I was told that the pictographs of light are used to respatialize knowledge or even mental objects through walls. The light pictographs are thought forms from the higher intelligence projected through the radiations of color to corresponding mental dimensions which perceive knowledge through the vibrations of a coordinated mind-body. The pictographs harmonize color tones in mantra patterns that can be retained by the spatial mind. The image is sustained by a fan of colors generally operating between 9 and 12 colors, which maximizes ratios of colors, vowels, and consonants, transposing instruction into a plate text or teaching in the appropriate language, within the language of light. Thus, the pictographs are generalized image shapes symbolizing the meeting of ideas which produce pictures and sounds in mental language and activate the receptor cone of the eye to see objects of many levels of space in which man coexists. The pictographs work with the automatic control systems formed by the nervous system and brain and by mechanical, electrical communication networks of human culture. I was told by Enoch that pictographs of light are essential for communication exchange between the human body and its overself body. Only when you know your true identity with respect to your overself can there be a true understanding of the pictographs of light, which give knowledge not only of the immediate reality but all adjacent realities used in the instruction of I am identity from one world to the next. Thus, pictographs not only communicate higher spiritual wisdom to the brain but provide us with new circulatory systems for linkage with our higher selves. These light pictographs work through yod, like pulsations centered in repeating pyramidal patterns extending through all space, time, and matter. This allows for the imprinting of higher thought forms even onto immanent objects chosen to receive the light superscripts as testimony of a living language of light. This was seen in the giving of the Ten Commandments through the coatings of light onto the stone tablets. These thought forms of the Brotherhood are projected through a multiple tracing of light, establishing a network of light to connect one pyramidal center to another pyramidal centers. These centers comprise a giant brain cluster, and thus, by harnessing giant brain clusters which house many galactic intelligences, the physical higher evolutionary intelligence is able to operate a universal communications network. Yet when the higher intelligence transmits their signals, they can only be received by planetary intelligence with godlike qualities of love. The broadcast signal on this frequency tells whoever has ears to let him hear how to live in their image. The physical brotherhoods operate horizontally with a pyramidal 5 as their basic brain cluster focus. The clusters are ringed to form Merkbah units connected with a galactic central control. They send and receive pictograph cybernetics by tuning their brains to establish a communication link strong enough to begin the transfer process. This link with God qualifying levels can only be formed through the changing of genetic personality codes, reconstructing the body for upward levels of God experience. They transmit only to those who have the joy of the eternal quest for the infinite God level, those who have the choice to decide whether to evolve into the consciousness body of light or to be retransmitted and recycled within the physical form when their present house garment wears out.